United Way of Palm Beach County from 2018 to 2020. I'm honored to be here today as we reflect on the tremendous impact of this campaign year and celebrate the impact you've made in our community. We're recording today's event so we can share this with everyone who is unable to join us virtually today. I love seeing all of the United Way supporters on this call who share our belief that everyone in Palm Beach County deserves access to the basics: a quality education, a safe place to sleep, financial stability, quality medical care, and enough to eat. I've had the pleasure of serving United Way over the past 2 years and through uncharted territory as we navigated and overcame the challenges that 2020 threw our way. This year has taken many of us by surprise, but I am proud of the United Way team for showing their heart for our community through it all. They've stepped up and faced numerous challenges that 2020 threw their way. Today, we want to share our gratitude with each of you for the ways that you and your organizations have given your time, talent, and resources to help us become a stronger community. We'd like to kick things off by acknowledging our top 10 corporate workplace campaigns. Each year, they go above and beyond to give back, have fun, and most importantly, make an impact on the lives of children and families in our community. While we couldn't gather in person this year to recognize each of them at our annual awards ceremony, the United Way team donned their masks and practiced safe and smart social distancing to show our appreciation for their dedication to our community. Let's take a quick look at our top 10 workplace campaigns.
Accepting this award. I just want to thank the entire Pratt Whitney family for all their contributions and hard work. Let's look forward to this next year's campaign.
Thank you again to each of those businesses and their generous employees. The masks can't hide our gratitude for these companies who are leading the way through their corporate philanthropy. I'd also like to recognize the 60+ organizations and 100 programs and initiatives that United Way funds. They're the ones who see firsthand some of the hardest issues facing our residents. They're the helpers, the problem solvers, and truly the heartbeat of our community. If you are here today representing one of our funded agencies, thank you so much for all that you do. This year, United Way of Palm Beach County raised $17.4 million, supported over 100 programs and initiatives, organized 8,100 volunteers in spite of the pandemic, facilitated 4,500 much needed mentor matches, filed 6,800 tax returns, and impacted more than 250,000 lives. Thank you to each of you who gave generously to help us make all of that and more possible. And last, but certainly not least, I'd like to thank the United Way Board of Directors. We could not do what we do without the dedication of our entire board. Thank you for your support and leadership, and truly we are strengthening our community now and for years to come. So now it is my pleasure to introduce my dear friend and colleague, Dr. Lori George, President and CEO of United Way of Palm Beach County, who will be moderating a panel discussion of United Way team members to share stories and the impact that your generosity has made this year. Under Lori's leadership, United Way of Palm Beach County has continued to lead not only here in our community, but throughout the entire network of over 1,200 United Ways, with long-lasting solutions and unique collaborations to address issues. Thank you, Lori, for your leadership and your vision.
Awesome. Thank you, Kim. You've been a remarkable, really groundbreaking board chair of this United Way through an unprecedented year. So let's give her a virtual round of applause. You guys join me in clapping for her. Yay! She's been really, truly remarkable. So I'm Lori George. I have the pleasure of serving as the president CEO of this amazing organization. And today you're going to get to hear from some of my key staff members that really make it happen. I'm so thrilled to see in the box of the attendees, you guys that are here supporting us, Bank of America, friends from the county. I think I saw Pratt Whitney in there. So just really, we could not do this work without you. And so this is our opportunity. We just wanted you to see kind of inside the United Way. I'm actually sitting at the front desk in our office, and some of us are here, some of us are still remote, but we're all adapting to this together. But we've really, because of your support, have not missed a beat in serving the needs of our community. And today you're going to learn a little bit more what that means. And so joining us, we have Dr. Seth Bernstein. He's the Executive Vice President for Community Investments. And then we have Gary Graham. He's a Senior Director of the Mentoring Initiative. Wave, Gary. Wave. Little indication there. All right. He's also a Gator, right? Donna Polda is the Vice President of Volunteer Services. And then we have Julie Kriefel. She is the Vice President of Hunger Relief. So I'm going to turn it over to this amazing group of individuals. And Seth, why don't you kick it off? Tell a little bit about yourself and your area of responsibility here at the United Way.
Sure. Thank you so much, Lori. Thank you, Kim. This has just been an incredible year. As we all know, we've had to pivot greatly to our work. But again, my name is Seth, and I have the honor of being here on staff for the last 3.5 years and been involved with our United Way for the last 20 years and been a longtime Palm Beach County resident. And working with the nonprofit community is just in my blood from when I was a youngster growing up in New Jersey, and just can't thank the organizations that we fund, but also all of our corporate partners that make this happen. So greatly appreciate it and happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you, Seth. How about Gary?
All right. Good morning. Well, good afternoon. Gary Graham. I'm the Senior Mentoring Initiative Director here at United Way of Palm Beach County. Actually just passed my 8-year anniversary here. So got involved with mentoring just because it's not anything that you really want to do. It's just something you are. We have tons of mentors across our mentoring network who are just outstanding people, putting forth effort day in and day out. But one of the things we really want to concentrate here in Palm Beach County is making sure we have much more and many more supportive mentors to take on the task of supporting young people, not only in the virtual space, but in the real space when we're back to normal. So thank you all.
Excellent. How about Donna?
Hello, everyone. So as Lori mentioned, I oversee our volunteer services department, which I've been doing for about 20 years for United Way of Palm Beach County. And I oversee our disaster program, which, we've definitely seen a lot of that this year. our mentor program that Gary heads up. And then also our VITA program, so our volunteer income tax assistance program, and our corporate volunteers, which I'd like to thank for sticking with us in 2020 with the difficulties of COVID, but still volunteering and helping our community. And then just pretty much anything volunteering in general. So that's what I oversee at United Way.
Fabulous. Julie?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Julie Creefall. I oversee the Hunger Relief Plan for Palm Beach County. Our team works with 5 work groups focusing on implementing the plan. And certainly during COVID, we've had to pivot tremendously, working with our partners, which has been a gift to have them on board with us prior to COVID and certainly during COVID. I have 25 years experience in health and wellness, with the last 12 or 13 years focusing on hunger relief. And we've been with this United Way for 2.5 years. I was with United Way of Broward for 5 years, and then did statewide hunger relief work for about 11 years. So our role is busy. We value the community greatly, and we've been able to make a lot of progress helping our community with hunger relief needs.
Okay, thank you. So those are our 4 panelists today. There is a Q&A area in here. And so I have a series of questions I'm gonna ask them. But if there's something that you really want to ask during this conversation, just go ahead and put it in the box. And I think Carrie will let me know, and I'll do my best to turn it to the right panelists to answer your question. So let's start the conversation by sharing about how COVID-19 has impacted your area of focus. What were some of the needs you and your team saw earlier this year?
I'll kick that off, Lori. Within our community investments area, right when COVID hit, we opened up a fund, and the community of foundations and corporate donors and individuals donated almost $1.6 million towards our COVID response fund. And our community impact department worked with our other internal colleagues and our funding collaborative, and we collectively received 574 applications for funding from nonprofit organizations right here in Palm Beach County for a total amount of almost $30 million. And the 10 funders that were collaborating on this granted a little over $7.5 million of funds to these nonprofit organizations. And the needs were great and continue to be great. There were needs for increased food, right? There were needs for additional staff to serve the community, and shifting the technology from remote was a big shift for our nonprofit organizations. And through these contributions, we were able to help fund a significant amount of organizations and help to meet that need. We're continuing to do that and continuing to hear about what the needs are, and there are continue to be mental health and behavioral health needs. So we are monitoring those and still have some dollars that we're going to be investing within the next 6 months or so. But it's been a great effort, and I'd really like to thank Donna Quinlan and the community impact team for helping with that.
Excellent. So then you could hear the needs were tremendous. The amount of money and the agencies that requested really exceeded the amount that we were able to invest. But what the team did is we really honed in and prioritized on the emergency needs and kind of a phase 1, a phase 2, and a phase 3. One of the things we saw really skyrocket was a number of people who were food insecure. Julie and her team with the hunger relief work really had a unique position to address it quickly. Julie, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Thank you. Yes, thanks, Lori. Yes, as I mentioned in my introduction, we have partnered with probably 180 different community partners prior to COVID-19, and certainly with the advent of COVID-19, those relationships have been key for us to address the need. What we've seen before COVID-19, about 185,000 residents were food insecure. That means they don't know where their next meal is coming from. And that has unfortunately increased to, we think, about 300,000 people in Palm Beach County. Statistic-wise, the current number of SNAP customers, the latest numbers that I have, which were, I believe we're getting October's numbers at any moment, so I'll give you September's numbers. There are 218,908 folks that are participating in SNAP. That's a 47.6 increase from this time last year, which is, very concerning. And the SNAP issuance, that means the dollars coming out into the community, the increase is 116% increase from this time last year. So, and increasing every month through COVID. So there's an incredible need. We have also created, which I'll talk about a little bit maybe now, the United Way Palm Beach County Food Finder map, where people can go on to our website, go onto that map, find locations where there's food, whether it's through the school district, through the food banks, through pantries, through restaurants, through food distributions that are happening, etc. And that provides them with driving directions as well. So the need is there. It continues. We've had tremendous support from Palm Beach County and the CARES dollars helping to infuse our system, our pantry system with food, and just working with people that have been preparing meals, going out to the community, pivoting for all of our school programs and feeding programs in the summer to make sure we're deeper into the community and so on. So those are some of the most immediate needs. The seniors, on the good note, silver lining with the senior meals, we were able to, because of CARES dollars, take them off the wait list. We had a wait list of over 1,000. We have concerns going forward, but that was a silver lining with COVID-19. But we were able to, as we said, quickly pivot and address the issues that are out there.
Okay, thank you for that. So I know we use the word pivot a lot in terms of, changing the style of the way that we do our work in order to continue to meet the needs. One of these areas is in mentoring. You have that one-on-one relationship or the group relationship with a young adult. Gary, how did your group pivot to continue to meet the needs and really nurture those relationships?
Fortunately, we're connected, obviously, with the local affiliate of National Mentoring Partnership. So we're connected to National Mentoring Partnership as a whole. And through their collaborations and partnerships, they were actually able to create and deliver to us 2 virtual platforms for mentors and mentees to connect through. It's one's for ages 12 and under, the other one's for 13 and over. The reason why is you want to still have mentors and mentees be able to meet, but at the same time, just don't want to leave them out there on their own without any oversight or regulation. So these 2 platforms actually flagged any phrases or keywords that may have seemed harmful or abusive, so the mentors and mentees could still move forward with their mentoring matches. And believe it or not, it's really extremely important now for the mentors and mentees to continue to meet. Kids have been in homes and they've just been kind of confined, so they really don't have an outlet. They're in the same house with the same people day in and day out. Even my kids were going crazy. So I can only imagine how kids who are really confined to just, 4 walls and sometimes being caregivers to their brothers and sisters while their mothers and fathers are out playing crucial roles in the communities. It's extremely important for those mentors and mentees to continue to connect and continue to move forward with their mentoring relationships. So these virtual platforms have allowed that to happen. And our mentoring programs actually met all of their matches for the entire year. We've exceeded our match rate more so than last year. And they're continuing on and trying to make that pivot once things open back up to being in reality again and not virtual. But in the meantime, we're still virtual and we're still meeting. And they're still logging notes into our virtual mentoring software. So everything's going pretty well right now.
If somebody wanted to volunteer to be a mentor, how could they connect?
They could contact me, Gary Graham, Gary Graham at United Way PBC, or go through our website at unitedwaypbc.org.
Okay. And if the background checks are virtual, it's really managed to adjust so it's a safe experience with social distancing.
Yeah, we actually will sometimes even come out to you to do the background checks. You wear a mask, we wear a mask, and sometimes we meet at maybe a different place. We have the background check machine there, and we're able to go forward. We still need to make sure that our mentees are safe. So we still screening, but it just will look different in terms of service delivery and how we mentor these days.
Awesome. Time well spent. So Donna, tell us a little bit about how do you you work with about 8,000 volunteers annually, and we have social distancing, just really everything changed. How did you adapt?
Yeah, so it's amazing how the community still stepped up and wanted to help during this time. And one of the main needs, I think, in the first few months of the pandemic was for the PPE, so the personal protective equipment. So we were able to receive donations from corporate partners, from government, from individuals that Clinics Can Help was able to help store for us. And we had 51 volunteers. And as you said, Lori, practiced the social distancing at the warehouse, the masks, to be able to sort all of those donations, the thermometers, hand sanitizer, masks, gloves, to over 120 organizations in Palm Beach County, so that they were able to supply that to their clients and to their staff, and to help keep their doors open and to provide those much needed critical services to the agencies. So yeah, we've pivoted, we've created some virtual volunteer opportunities as well, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But yes, definitely quick on our feet to be able to set things up and still be able to help the community and provide those critical services and needs.
Excellent. So I'm going to shift over to one of the things that we saw is that United Way is particularly good at is collaborations with businesses, nonprofit, government, because we're not in this alone. We really pull together all different resources, put the best minds together to solve complex community issues. And so, Seth, I'm going to have you talk first on this one. Can you share a few of these collaborations and the impact that they had on the community?
Sure. Thanks so much, Lori. So one of the main ones that continues today is a big collaboration between the school district, Palm Beach County, Quantum Foundation, other foundations, school district, of course, and it's around the digital divide. So, what happened, when school went remote and youth were, needing to log into the technology from home, what happened here happened in all parts of the country, especially in disenfranchised communities where, there was less access to the internet, there was less access to the actual devices. And through the CARES Act money that the county received from the federal government, they've been able to start a process where they're going to be providing free Wi-Fi in about 20 different communities. So they've started in the Glades, and it's actually laid down already. The fiber is all laid down, and part of Pell Glade is actually lit up, where households and anyone in the area can get access to free Wi-Fi. And what we did with some of our COVID-19 dollars from the generous contributions of the corporate partners and philanthropic community and individuals is we invested in hotspots. And we did this before the summer as an immediate stopgap measure so that students in the Glades can have immediate access to the technology and could do summer school. As the rest of the Glades community is going to be receiving the free Wi-Fi, those devices are going to travel around the county so that other families can get access to the internet at no charge. And there's a big collaboration with Quantum Foundation at the helm, where there are going to be IT consultants, if you will, in 3 communities that will be helping families get access to the technology that they need, the technology of all kinds. And what that'll do is it'll help them not only allow the youth to get access to education, but it'll allow folks to apply for a job or apply for other basic needs services, or to attend training or webinars, or get healthcare through telemedicine. So technology is not just about education, although we have a focus on that in Palm Beach County. So we're just grateful to have all those partners, and it's a great effort that will continue into next year as well.
Awesome. So you touched a bit on, it really was distance learning in Palm Beach County. It seemed like it was a week before spring break and the kids were off in their homes. And so it was an immediate need to try to figure out how to get, like you said, the technology, the laptops and so forth. But then there was also the human side of it, Gary, right? Like, how did you provide support to these youth so that they didn't fall behind in school?
So we had to be a little creative, and it wasn't necessarily us, it was our programs who are really the creators of this actual virtual movement of creating modules. We had some programs come together to help youth create a song. So every week they'd come together, they'd write a different piece and they'd perform it. So Seth and I were on that call with Digital Vibes. So every week they came together, and at the end of it, they just released it October 12th. They had a full song about the pandemic and how the youth are coping with it. So they were being creative. They were just, also we had this one program, I thought it was really creative, FAU. They had these STEM kits. So you sometimes get on front with your mentee and figure out, what am I going to talk about today? So instead of talking about it, they actually built these cars and carts and mazes together on the computer. And they actually showed the mentee how to build these things on the computer face to face. So if the mentee was having difficulty, the mentor could kind of walk them through it. So it was more hands-on than I actually thought it was going to be. More so than talking, more so than just spending that time together, but actually having these activities to do, I thought was really creative for our programs. And they made the pivot really well. So it wasn't us, it was all them. So we definitely thank you for being creative.
Awesome. Julie or Donna, do you have anything to add on the collaborations?
Sure, I'll go. So we do have some of our corporate partners that are still always looking to get involved and see how they can collaborate with us. And LexisNexis, they're one of our great volunteer partners, and they put together a great program for the kids at Milagro Center. We're hoping we can share it with some of our other nonprofit partners as well. It was kind of a learning, mentoring type opportunity where the employees from different departments talk to the kids just about their goals and how they meet them. And they talked about their journeys, and they talked about how, what classes they needed to take, and what college careers would help them to achieve some of the goals that they were looking at, and different jobs that they could, accomplish along the way, how internships would help them, get a step up and a step into a company. And so it was really, really great to see that interaction. The kids really asked a lot of questions. And so it was a great learning opportunity for the kids. It was a great way for a corporate partner to share their expertise and really help those kids along their journeys. It was all the high school kids. So they're, getting ready for that next step to move in, into college or into some type of a career or a trade. So it was really great to see that partnership come together and really help those kids so that they'll be able to further their journey.
Excellent.
So Lori, if it's okay, I'd like to just talk a little bit about some of the partnerships around hunger as well in the community. I touched on the senior hunger piece, and I'll talk a little bit about early childhood as well and childhood. But with the senior hunger, as I mentioned earlier, we were able to take off more than 1,000 people from that wait list that it's been there for quite some time. It was, again, a silver lining. But that was a partnership between the Area Agency on Aging taking the lead, along with the Volin Center, Palm Beach County Division of Senior Services, and Ruth and Norman Rails Jewish Family Services, and combined since April 19th, which was when this program was put into place. Right immediately, we started working on it as soon as COVID hit, knowing the need. But since April 19th, when it was implemented, 937,000 meals have been delivered to seniors. That's a partnership with 2Js and with Jack Scalisi Trucking, and also utilizing PalmTran to get those meals out to the community. We've worked really closely all the way along, pretty much almost on a daily basis with Palm Beach County School District. Their situation changes quite rapidly, and we try to stay abreast of that, making sure that the kids are getting the meals and the parents, and they have access to those that's in a timely manner that works with their schedules. We've been working with Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies. Their increase in need for baby food and formula and diapers has increased more than 350%. And we've been able to work with the county and them to get what they need. And lastly, working with a USDA program called Farm to Families Food Boxes that comes down through our state and then into our local areas, and making sure that Palm Beach County is getting what we need for that and getting access to that, and they're reaching our communities. So those are just some quick highlights.
Thank you. So those are some great examples of our corporate partners, our nonprofit partners, our government partners, really working together to make these things happen. So we really just talked about the last year, a little bit about the present. What do you see as the greatest community needs looking forward? We're rounding out 2020. I can see January 2021 on the horizon. People are putting up, holiday lights, things like that. Like we can't get there fast enough. But from where you sit, what are you seeing as the needs coming up?
I can speak to that again, Lori, if
Okay, great.
it's okay for me to go 2 times in a row. The biggest thing that we're concerned about is the CARES dollars not being here after December 30th. So we're working now on projecting what we think those needs might be, and particularly, again, I'm talking about everyone, but also with the seniors, that we know that those folks, we don't want to have them come back off the wait list. We have the increased needs. There's lots of them that are living alone. So right now we're planning, forecasting, and we'll be presenting our unmet needs and coordinating that request to go out to our funders. So that should be coming in the next couple of weeks. We're also going to be adding some shopping assistance for seniors. We think that's going to be a big need going forward through this situation. Another thing that we're very concerned about is children getting the school meals. That the ones that are there, brick and mortar, are getting them, but we're seeing a significant drop in the families picking those meals up from the schools. So we're working on that. How do we put together some type of a home delivered meals program and funding for that? Another huge need that has accelerated during COVID, and it has been there long before, is the weekend backpacks for kids. We have a family weekend backpack program that we expanded last year, and it's been met with tremendous success, and recipients have benefited greatly. It's for the full family. We have schools that are looking for those family weekend backpacks that need funding, and we have schools that are absolutely low-hanging fruit. And of course, with COVID, there are challenges around that. So and of course, continued need for the community at large, for families, for everyone, and also making sure that and lastly, before I end, making sure that the community understands the very, very important programs that are out there to help support them during these times with hunger-related needs. The SNAP program, they can sign up through DCF, they can contact Palm Beach County Food Bank, they're authorized to help folks sign up for SNAP. That's the #1 way to offset their costs. WIC, Women, Infants, and Children, which provides a wealth of not only food and supplies for moms with kids 0 to 5, but it's also a program that you do not have to be on public assistance to qualify for, and that's super important for our immigrant population as well. So for people to access those programs, and any questions, anything, they can visit our website. We have lots of information on the United Way of Palm Beach County website, Hunger Relief page, or they can contact us via email or certainly call me, and we'll make sure that we get back with answers. So we're looking at, our groups are all looking at all those challenges that are coming our way and solutions, but on an individual basis, if people know folks, we're there too to help with that. So
Excellent.
thank you.
211 is also the go-to number.
Thank you.
Is a great way, and then they can direct from there for a wide variety of health and human service needs. Seth.
Yeah, yep. I was going to say 3 areas that I could see, being a great need, and keeping in Julie's theme about, after the local CARES Act dollars are finished. I would say education, continuing in this virtual space for students can be challenging, and I would say behavioral health, and then access to the basic needs like around rent, mortgage assistance, utilities assistance, as so many people are still out of work. Around the education piece, our organizations, our education funded organizations are, truly really pivoted. One example is one organization that provides tutoring and mentoring. They had a young lady, a high schooler last year that they were working with, and she was a survivor of the Marjory Stoneman Douglas shooting 2 years earlier. And she had significant post-traumatic stress disorder, and had to stop her track. She was a track champion, and she just stopped that because she didn't really want to go out of the house. And through the education program, they got her back into a coach, and she, was able to finish high school and got back into running and got her behavioral health needs taken care of and her education needs. And, this education program totally pivoted to virtual tutoring and virtual mentoring, and it was just amazing. I think that students are still going to continue to need those supports. We talk about the summer slide of learning, and now there's the COVID slide of learning. In fact, my son, who's a college student, just told me yesterday, Dad, I need to go in, I need to have in-person classes. I learn better that way. If I'm doing it on my own, I just, struggle much more with it. So I think that'll be an issue continuing into next year. Behavioral health needs or mental health needs of folks, there's just a tremendous amount of stress on folks that are, still looking for work, or, they're, at home, with their children, and, just stressed beyond belief because they're trying to work and juggle so much. And then just the third thing around, just continued access to basic needs like rent, mortgage, utility assistance. There are dollars now, there are some restrictions on it, but, I think that will continue to be an issue moving into next year.
Thank you for that, Seth. Yeah, it definitely takes a lot of resources to continue to invest in the present and in the future. Dollars, volunteers, in-kind donations, a whole variety, so that we can continue to serve our community. I'm going to shift a little bit to something else that's been part of the United Way fabric for some time, but this year it really elevated, and that was a conversation on diversity, equity, and inclusion. United Way Worldwide as a system actually added some mandatory practices. We were able to be a part of that effort, advocating for that and helping to build out an equity framework that would help serve local United Ways all across the country. We really, Gary and Seth have been leaders in this space and really also helped inform that national agenda with United Way Worldwide. But I want to talk a little bit about Seth and Gary in particular, talk a little bit about, our involvement in that, your role in that, what you see now and going forward. Gary's smiling. I say Gary.
Go, Gary. You can start.
Great, you got a great smile. I think you got something great to say.
Well, it's just that at its very basic. I'll go from basic to grandiose. So at its very basic, mentoring, as we get more specified in the youth that we serve, we're finding the needs of the mentors to be a little bit more greater as well. So we have youth on the LGBT spectrum. We have youth on the autism spectrum. We have young girls who are parenting or pregnant in high school. We have young boys and girls who are in the DJJ system, in the juvenile justice system. So we have to be a little bit more diverse in how we go about recruiting mentors to serve the specialized population. And we just can't go about it how we used to. And this is where DEI really comes into play. We need to make sure everybody's on the same page and making sure we progress our youth forward. If we have one aspect of youth that's not progressing, that's on us. And if we have one aspect of adults who we're not including, that's also on us. So we need to make sure that every aspect of adults are going to be engaged with every aspect of youth, because if one fails, we all fail. You can't just no longer be separated into, that's their youth or these are our youth. They're all of our youth. And it takes all of us, whatever gender, whatever race, whatever you come from, especially here in Palm Beach County, we see it. It's going to take all of us to serve all of them. So at its very basic, at its very core, DEI just is so important, not only to mentoring, but to serving youth in general in Palm Beach County. And we need to make sure that they have that inclusive space to feel comfortable and to feel welcome and to drive home the mission of United Way of Palm Beach County.
Fantastic. Seth.
And Gary's absolutely right. Diversity, equity, inclusion has always been a part of our mission here at United Way of Palm Beach County. It's been elevated the last 3 years or so, where we have put on community trainings around Racial Equity Institute and groundwater analysis to look at the data that impacts Black and Latinx communities and the outcomes in different areas like health outcomes, education outcomes, criminal justice, juvenile justice, education, et cetera. So we have an outward-facing agenda with the community to do training to the general population, but also required training with our executive directors and program staff that we fund. They're required to attend racial equity training and also trauma-informed care training. Our agencies are also required this year to develop their own diversity, equity, and inclusion strategy, and also to be very forward with the community that they oppose all forms of racism. So we've aligned, what we're doing internally with what our expectations are of our funded partners. Those 100 programs and initiatives that we help support. We're also looking at our own funding, and for example, Gary, is so passionate about mentoring, and there are so many communities that need it. Gary, I think we still have about 1,200 youth on the wait list, and a lot of them are in communities of color. And we look for mentors that match the mentee. So that's a big push. And what we did very intentionally last time that we put out funding for our mentoring initiative is that we looked for more mentor programs that were led by a person of color. And so we went from about 8% of our funded programs being led by a Black or Latinx executive director to over 36%. And that was just in 1 year. And that's something that we'll continue to look at so that we can diversify our funding throughout each of our areas over the next year or so.
Okay, awesome. So we talk a lot about numbers and strategy and partners, but it really gets real to me when we hear the stories of impact in an individual's life. So for this question, I'd like you to share, what is your favorite success story of how United Way has impacted someone's life this year? Donna.
So I'll go. So one of our virtual volunteer opportunities is Stars of Hope. And so it's a star. They're wooden originally, but because of COVID have gone to virtual paper, construction paper, whatever folks want to use, decorating the star and putting a message of encouragement or thanks to first responders, to teachers, to medical professionals. So we had groups of volunteers for our United Way Day of Action, which is an annual day in June. And we had youth from Home Safe, and we had seniors from Alzheimer's Community Care. And they created these stars that were sent to Boca Raton Hospital. And when it went to the nurses on different floors, but when the nurses received the stars, like just the expressions on their faces and the smiles, and they were holding them up, and they were it was just a great day, a great opportunity, a great way to give thanks for all that they were doing, all the hard work that they were putting in, all the sacrifices they were making. So it was really great to see that, and to see just different groups in the community come together to make that happen.
Awesome.
Yeah, it isn't one life, but the outcome that really sticks out to me is we had in the Glades, at Glade Central High School specifically, 30% of the youth there are in formal mentoring programs, 30% of the youth. Of those 30% of the youth who actually were seniors last year, 100% of them graduated. So to look at that and realize that every single youth at Glade Central High School that had a formal mentor was able to graduate, that is absolutely outstanding through COVID and through whatever else is going on in their life. 100% of the youth.
I think that deserves a round of applause, y'all. Join me on that one.
Yep.
That's good work. That's awesome.
So yeah, that is the one that sticks out to me, is 100% of youth.
Fantastic. Julie, you look like you had something you wanted to share.
I did. Of course, in hunger relief, we have our different populations, of course, in the entire county that we're serving. But our biggest success story was really kind of, in my mind, tied for three different things. One, taking those seniors off that wait list for those home delivered meals was huge. that has been sitting there for years. So that was just a tremendous success. And as I said earlier, wonderful silver lining. The other success is the Family Weekend Backpack Program. We increased those numbers of servings. We surveyed the kids. The kids are from all different backgrounds, different cultures and so forth. And my favorite story was a child who said having that Family Weekend Backpack meals for himself and his family made him feel smarter. And of course, he felt better and he felt more capable and happier and so forth. So we get lots of positive feedback, but that's one of my favorite stories. And of course, I mentioned Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies, and the moms just talked about they had lost their job, they were looking for other work, or they were unable to have any kind of income to help support that. And it was a godsend for them to be able to get that support through the food and the diapers and so on. And lots of great stuff, people coming together that never came together before to help serve the community food. And those partnerships are all as a result of folks being concerned and seeing the need, but also the relationships that we had through our Palm Beach County Hunger Relief Plan. So.
Seth, did you want to share one before I go on to the next question?
Sure, I'll share another one. It's food related. There was a relatively new pantry that opened up in Delray Beach, and I had an opportunity to go there. And they had about 12 middle and high school students that were volunteering there, and they only distributed fresh produce. Nothing. There was all healthy. Not stuff with preservatives or anything like that. And it was just like a rainbow of the different kinds of food that were there. And the youth were getting community service hours, and the folks that were coming to pick up the food, so many of them said that they, had never had to go to a food pantry and get food. But, these were unprecedented times, and, they just, went out of their comfort zone and did what they needed to do to feed themselves or their families. And the youth that were volunteering there were just incredible and so caring and compassionate to the folks that were coming through the line. It was really, really amazing to see them come together and the organization coordinating that. And it was really just fantastic to be a part of that.
Great stories. If anyone has any questions for the panelists, we'd be happy to touch on those. We'll give you guys a minute to put them in there. Meanwhile, I just want to do one thing. If there was one thing that somebody could do to make a difference today, what would that be? Let's just go quick with it.
I would say donate your time, talent, or treasure. Obviously, any corporate partner, is doing a lot already. Maybe encourage a neighbor or a relative to do the same. And it doesn't have to be about money.
Excellent. Bring a friend with you. Julie. It's hard to say one, but.
It is. It's hard to say one. I would say very similar to what Seth said, time, talent, and treasure. If you can volunteer at a food bank, you can volunteer with an organization that helps the school district get meals out. Coming forward, we may need some volunteers for home delivered meals. That's one of the options that we're looking at with the kids and the communities. And of course, to sponsor, we've got schools that are on a wait list for the Family Weekend Backpack Program. So we have a business that might be interested in sponsoring that, or a portion of that school population. Would be fantastic to have that. And going forward, we'll have opportunities out there.
I'm going to move on. Donna, one thing, I'm sorry. I know we can take 10 minutes. You've got so many.
Yeah, so of course they all stole my thunder with volunteer, but of course volunteer. But coming up, our volunteer income tax assistance program. So definitely need volunteers for that, in a virtual space this year. And going back to the DEI because, we've got such a diverse clientele that we serve. So definitely need volunteers in the community to match up with that as well. We have some wish list items we'll be posting on our website that people can get involved with. Family Volunteer Day is Saturday, November 21st. So all our virtual volunteer opportunities are listed. So check our website. You can find everything there.
Excellent. Gary.
Straight up 1 hour a week, be a mentor. It changes your life. It changes theirs. Beautiful.
Those are all awesome. You could volunteer on a local board for a nonprofit. You can really get educated about the community, forward our social media posts educate your friends about what's going on and how they can make a difference as well. So with that, thank you to the panelists. I'm going to turn it over to Frank Campiani. He is our current chair of the board. He started his term October 1st, 2020, and it's going to be an amazing year. So Frank, do you want to share a few words?
Sure. There'll be very few since it looks like we're running low on time here, but I would like, first of all, to thank you, Laurie, Kim, who's served as our board chair for the last 2 years, and I guess the pivot is the word we've been using here. Kim had to pivot quite a bit with what's been going on in our community, especially with this pandemic. But I want to thank our board of directors this past year, all the United Way committee members that are involved, and certainly you guys. The panel is here today, and the rest of the staff at the United Way for all that you guys do for us. And now all of our campaigns this year. I mean, this is a year we won't forget, not just because of the pandemic and the increase in needs we've had, but for all the extraordinary ways that, our community came together to really help out and meet the needs that we have here. As Laurie said, I'm Frank Campiani. I'm a partner at RSM, soon to be retired, so I'll be devoting even more time to the United Way. And I'm honored to serve as, the chair for the next 2 years. I've served on the board in a lot of different capacities over quite a few years now, seen firsthand how this team works tirelessly to ensure that our community's most pressing needs are met efficiently and effectively. So you heard a lot of stories today, how the United Way is fighting hunger, providing opportunities for family to achieve their financial stability, matching the mentorship program, matching at-risk youth to a caring adult, organizing volunteers, serving the community during hurricanes and pandemics, and so much more. So with that, I'd like to kind of talk about, what we at the United Way, we want to help individuals and businesses feel connected to a lot of the good things that are happening around us and the solutions that are changing lives here in our community. So there are many ways for you to get involved, to kind of give back. So I invite everyone on this call, and I know I'm kind of speaking to the choir here with the individuals who are probably attending this call, but be the heart of Palm Beach County today. Take the next step to get involved, make a difference with local families. And as one of the panelists just mentioned, bring a friend. Again, I'm speaking to the choir here, but bring a friend, bring 2 friends, bring a group of friends. So whether you donate, volunteer, you become a mentor, or become involved with one of our affinity groups, which are very active, we hope that you'll join the movement to make Palm Beach County a place where everyone can thrive. After this meeting wraps up in a few minutes, we'll be sending out an email to let you know all the ways that you can possibly get involved and make an impact on our community. So with that, I'm going to do my best for the next couple of years to try to lead this organization with the help of this group here on the call and all the staff and the great staff that we have at the United Way right now. So
All right, thank you
to everyone for joining us today. And with that, I guess I'll hand it back to you, Laurie, to kind of wrap up.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Frank. You are going to be an amazing leader. You have a lot of experience, a lot of history, raising your family, your children, your grandchildren in this community. I know you care an awful lot about it. Thank you, everybody.
I feel like you just called me old. Got a lot of experience. You just called me old.
I didn't. I
said a lot of experience
and a lot of heart. So that's what we look for. We really are super compassionate in the way that we serve our community. We love on our community. We cannot do this work without you. I see so many of your names here, and I wish I could go through all of them because each and every one of you is truly amazing, and we could not do this work without you. So we are here for you. We are here with you. Thank you so much. And show me your heart hands. Come on, Gary. Come on, Gary. All right. We love you guys. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.